Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back to my channel. Back with a video on software defined radio. I'm back with a video, and here's the setup. Let me explain the setup for you, and we'll go after I explain my setup. So I have my function generator, which is a Rosen-Schwarz function generator that is generating frequency from 9 kilohertz all the way up to 6 gigahertz. I have connected a loop antenna. I made a video on it. It works somewhere around megahertz range. It's not working quietly at kilohertz range. I already made a video on it. My laptop is connected to my HackRF, which is connected to my laptop. And the reason I have them to close by because it's hard for me to film it if they're further apart. So that's why it doesn't have to be as close as possible. But the general setup is that I'm going to try to transmit a frequency from here and try to receive it using my SDR, which is going to be HackRF, and I'm going to display it on my laptop, which is running SDRangel on my laptop. This is what I'm running right now. So make sure your HackRF is connected. Make sure your antenna is connected to your RF generator. We're going to look at a couple of things. From here, using this antenna, we're going to try to transmit amplitude modulated signal, FM modulated signal, and we're going to do a sweep signal from how can I use the sweep functionality of my function generator. So the first thing I need to do is this. I have opened up my SDRangel. I'm going to go to my receiving devices, and since my HackRF is connected, I'm going to refresh the list of devices, and I'm going to choose my HackRF. All right. So the default frequency that HackRF normally has is about 435 megahertz. I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm going to increase the LNA and VGA gain a little bit so I can see the spectrum clearly. That's all I need to do. Now I'm going to start doing the transmission from this side. So we're going to do first a test transmission using this antenna at I'm going to do it exactly at 435 megahertz. So I will simply go here to frequency knob, and I'm going to change this to 435 megahertz. Hit enter. 435. Let me just do backspace. 435 megahertz. All right, and let's leave the level at 0 dBm, and let's hit this button which is called RF on off, or I can click on this button which says diagram. I can highlight the diagram and I can just press this in, and it will turn on my RF on. Now, so this antenna start transmitting my RF signal at 435 megahertz. This is going to receive it, so you can see it in the same frame. And I'm going to turn on my SDRangel, which is configured at 435 megahertz. And I should be seeing a spike like this at 435 megahertz, which looks something like this. So that's pretty good. At 435 megahertz, we have a transmission happening. Let me increase the sample rate here to about 4 megahertz because I can go up to so this is what a transmission looks like. So I'm transmitting it from my antenna, which is right here, and I'm receiving it using my HackRF. So if I were to move this, my signal strength is going down because this is an omnidirectional antenna and this is an omnidirectional antenna. As you can see, the signal strength is going down. Now the next step is I'm going to leave this as close as possible, not because I want to have it in the same frame. I only have one camera. All right. The next step I need to do, I can do some modulation. I can turn off my RF off. I can go to my modulation box, click on it. Let's do amplitude modulation first. Once you go to this amplitude modulation, I can select the depth. I'm using an AM source, which is an internal source. It's going to generate a frequency from 20 kilohertz. You can have a frequency 20 kilohertz, which is going to be a baseband signal or information signal from 20 kilohertz all the way up to 1 megahertz. That's the range of this internal generator. Next step I need to do is go ahead and change this modulation depth to about 100%. All right, and let's change the source because 20 kilohertz is a very small signal to be modulated at 435 megahertz. So I'm going to choose this to be around the maximum possible range, which is about 1 megahertz. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to first do the modulation using an analog signal. So I'm going to change this to, let's assign a sinusoidal wave. and I'm going to turn on my modulation. I'll go up all the way up, and I'm going to turn on my modulation. So my modulation is on. I'm going to escape out of this, and nothing is being transmitted, as you can see it on the spectrum. Everything is being transmitted right here. So what I'm going to do next is this. I'm going to turn on my RF mod, because this thing is generating a 1 megahertz of signal that is going to be modulated on the 435 megahertz of signal. This is how this function generator is working. So if I turn on my RF on, you can see my modulation happening right here at 435 megahertz. As you can see the spectrum, I can move this away to show you the decrease in signal strength, but as you can clearly see, there is modulation which has taken place. If I were to just turn off my RF on, no signal is being modulated. It's just the modulation is on, but it's not being transmitted. Similar way, I can do the same thing. I can go to my diagram. I can go ahead and go here and select this to be an FM. I'll do exactly the same thing. You can do frequency deviation for FM is about 75 kilohertz, and I can choose this frequency FM internal source to be 1 mega. That's the maximum I can choose, 1 mega. All right, and the next thing is, let's leave that on sinusoid, and then let's see the spectrum of this using my HackRF, which is connected to my laptop, and on my laptop I'm using SDRangel. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit on, turn on my modulation, escape it out from here. I need to turn off my AM first. I don't know if I can simultaneously do that. All right, let's just escape out of it, and let's turn on my RF on. Now this is FM modulation. As you can clearly see the spectrum, my spectrum is quite wide because you're doing FM modulation. You have frequency which is changing continuously as compared to amplitude modulation. I can also screw up this spectrum by doing one more thing. Turn off RF off, go to my modulation block, and instead of, all right, let's go to frequency. Instead of choosing internal source to be sinusoidal wave, let's generate FSK. Just change this to square wave. So let me just go ahead and go here and choose this to be square wave. Escape out of it. So it's still FM, but your information signal, instead of having a sinusoidal signal, now is a analog signal. So I can just simply go here and turn this on. Now you can see the signal, which is much wider, because square wave requires a bigger bandwidth. That's why you are seeing a signal like this. So this is the way you can use your antenna to transmit your signal and receive it on your HackRF. All right, let's turn off everything. Let's turn off this. Let's go to our mod. Turn this off as well. Turn it off and escape out of it. All right, when you go to an RF configure block, just hit this, push it in. You will see different levels. You can do level of attenuation and RZ and things like that. Let's do a frequency sweep. One of the applications, so we can visualize this frequency sweep using our HackRF. All right, once you do a frequency sweep, let's click on it, and I'm going to leave these as is. All right, so let's just read off what is there. All right, I can choose a mode to be from auto or a single step. I just want to keep, because I want to show you on that spectrum, so I'm going to leave it on auto, and I'm going to leave these default frequency as is, because you can do a sweep from 9.9 kilohertz all the way up to 6 gigahertz using this. So I can also do that as well, but let's do this. Actually, let's do this. So let's do this from, so this is about 1 megahertz. So I'm going to start off from 1 megahertz, 1 megahertz of sweep. Let's go all the way up to 6,000 megahertz, which is my SDR is rated for megahertz. And let's let this guy decide the frequency, which is going to be your center frequency and which is going to be your span. So once I have done this, all of this, just turn this on by pressing it in, escape out of it. So RF sweep is on, but there's nothing happening on my spectrum yet. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn on my RF on, and we will be able to see the spectrum. The problem is we won't be able to see the spectrum. So let's go back, because we can only visualize up to 435 megahertz. We cannot do the whole sweep. So let's just turn this off, go to sweep, and go to frequency sweep, and let's start this, turn this off. Let's start this sweep from 100 megahertz. Let's go here. Let's do the sweep from 100 megahertz. And all right, and let's just go here. Stop frequency to be around 500 megahertz. Start frequency to be about 100 megahertz. All right, and let's do the sweep, because I'll be able to visualize as the sweep spikes comes in. I'll be able to see it at 435 megahertz, because I'm only able to see from 433 all the way up to 437 megahertz here. So once I have all of this set, just turn my sweep on, escape out of it, and turn my RF on. So you should see as soon as it reaches 435, this is the spike that you will see. All right, here we go. So because I was unable to see the spectrum previously, because I can only visualize the spectrum up to 433 megahertz all the way up to 437 megahertz, and I can just increase the sample rate as well. I can do that because I can go up to 8 mega samples, and I think even 10 with HackRF. So this is what you're seeing. So you're seeing from 431 megahertz all the way up to 439 megahertz. So this is just sweeping around, just transmitting that frequency and moving along, transmitting this frequency and moving along. So that's all I have for you in this video. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. I just try to explore different things as I go. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.